Hey toy fans, I'm D21 Beast and welcome back to my figure review series here on my YouTube channel. And today we're taking a look at another one in the line of the Marvel Legends figures by Hasbro. Today we've got the Marvel Legends Infinite Series Deadliest Foes, aka Boomerang in this case, released by Hasbro in 2014, and this was part of the figure line that was set to coincide with the release of the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know I'm a little late picking up this figure, but what can you say? I can't get everything all at once now, can I? Now, what we have here is Boomerang, as I mentioned before. Now, Boomerang is a character who first appeared in Tales to Astonish number 81 in July of 1966, and he was created by the great Stan Lee and the great Jack Kirby. So, this guy goes back a ways, and he's got some amazing talent and legacy creators behind his creation. So, awesome to have this figure in my collection. Now, you will notice that this particular Boomerang does feature his modern costume, not his typical costume that he has, where the boomerangs are stuck on his forehead and on his chest. But enough about that, let's go ahead and get started by taking a look at the packaging of this figure. As you come down the front of this box, the first thing you're going to notice is that Build-A-Figure Collection Green Goblin emblem. Down in the center in the front here, we do have Marvel Spider-Man labeled, and then there's a window box packaging that does feature Boomerang inside and its accessories, including that Build-A-Figure Green Goblin leg. And then we come to the bottom of the window, and it does say Marvel Legends Infinite Series, followed by the label Deadliest Foes at the bottom there. That's because this particular box could have featured either Boomerang or Ultimate Beetle. Flipping this package around now, as we look towards the top of the box, you are going to see the Marvel Legends Infinite Series logo again in the upper left, followed by the Marvel Spider-Man logo on the right. There's a bio there for the figures, and then you do see the images of Ultimate Beetle and Boomerang. Coming down, you once again see that Build-A-Figure Collection Green Goblin emblem, and then at the bottom you do see a complete list of all the figures in this wave, followed by an image on the left of what Green Goblin looks like completely assembled. Alright guys, well that's the packaging. Let's say we get Boomerang out of the box and see what this guy is all about. Alright toy fans, here we have Boomerang out of the box, and I'm a little bit disappointed with this figure. Sculpting wise, he honestly looks great. I'm very happy with that, and predominantly his body mold is based off of the Bucky Captain America figure that I've already reviewed. So if you haven't seen that review, link to that character is in the description below this video. But overall, I do like the sculpting of this guy. Where I'm really disappointed is with the paint work on them. Let's go and take a look at the figure up close. Now I don't know if it's coming through on my camera or not, but Boomerang is sculpted out of this almost deep foresty green color. And as you look at his face, they didn't apply enough flesh tone to his chin, so that color is coming through and really just kind of makes him look like he has a dirty face, and I'm not happy with that. There's a little bit of paint splatter on this side of the visor here with the silver, and the teeth, you know what, the teeth are actually pretty good. They're not as bad as I initially thought they were, based on the other kind of blemishes on the figure here. As you come down, I'm sure what you've already noticed is that the paint isn't complete on the pecs. There's some green seeping through there, so that's a little disappointing. Also, this pearlized paint doesn't match the actual molded plastic of the shoulders perfectly, so there's a bit of a difference there. Now, it's not a huge difference, but it's still noticeable just looking at the figure. I mean, this paint's nice, but the color of the plastic is still kind of coming through. As you move down, I do appreciate the clean work on the belt and the Thunderbolts logo there, so I am happy about that. And as we come down, he just has these molded white boots. Flipping the figure around now, we'll come down, we'll see that there's a little bit more paint mess on the belt there. And as we come up, we even have a hole here in the paint on his back muscles. So it feels like the paint was either rushed or just they didn't apply enough coats. I'm not sure what you would say there. But overall, the sculpting I am really happy about. I like how the visor looks on this guy. I think it's fantastic. Very nice sculpt work there. I do like that the teeth are sculpted in there. And I do like that this is the Bucky Cap mold. So great musculature on that figure. And I like how the boots came out. They're not these huge flaring Buccaneer boots, but they're just a little bit understated, I think. So I think that's great for a modern comic book character figure. Moving on to accessories, you can see that Boomerang does come with the right Build-A-Figure leg for Ultimate Green Goblin. I really like how this leg looks. It's got some nice bumps there on the foot and some nice tattered paint work, but we'll do that more in detail. Look at this more in detail when we have our Ultimate Green Goblin put together. And we see that he does come with 4 actual boomerangs, 2 larger ones and 2 smaller ones, as well as this sort of backpack accessory that he can stick the boomerangs in. First, we're going to go ahead and show you how this plugs into his back. He does have a hole in the back here, which on the Captain America Bucky figure held the shield, but in this guy's case, he'll just plug his backpack accessory right into his back. It fits perfectly, and then we'll go ahead and show you that his smaller boomerangs do attach to the outer sides of this backpack accessory. We'll just go ahead and plug those in here. And then we can put these bigger boomerangs into the insets, and that works out nicely. So he's able to hold these boomerangs very nicely. And it's a great accessory to be able to just have him walking around with his weapons stored properly. Now, one thing about these boomerangs is that the littler boomerangs don't hold in his hands, I think, quite as nicely as the bigger ones. You'll see here, this just slips in easily. It doesn't really stay that well, in my opinion. And he might hold it a little better with the trigger hand that he has over here, but overall I think the best boomerangs to have this guy positioned with are one of these larger sets. You'll notice when I put these in the hand, they're immediately snug and they don't go anywhere. Let me stick it in the other one here so I can show you guys. But it is great that he has extra boomerang accessories. You know, it's nice that you might be able to pose him with multiple boomerangs, or even do some action shots maybe where some boomerangs have already been thrown. But great accessories overall. Moving on to articulation, we can see that Boomerang has a head that turns a full 360 degrees, does look up that far and down that far, so great range of motion. He does have a shoulder joint that's been 360 degrees, and it does have a ratchet in it, so it kind of pops into place. His arm will bend out from the body that far and back. He does have a bicep rotation, a double jointed elbow, and it looks like he should have a rotation at the top of the boot, but he doesn't. But he does have rotation in the wrist, 360 degrees, and his hand will bend up that far and down that far, and that articulation is repeated on the other side. He's got an ab crunch that'll move forward that far and it locks in place nicely. He can move back that far, so only about to standing position. He has a waist rotation that does turn 360 degrees. Mine's still a little stiff here. And he's got a hip joint that'll bend forward that far and bend back about that far. He does have upper thigh swivel that turns 360 degrees, as well as a double jointed knee that collapses in that far, so great range of motion there. He does have an upper boot swivel, 360 degrees. His foot will bend up that far, back that far, and he's got that ankle pivot that's so great with these modern Marvel Legends figures. So overall, a really great range of motion on this Boomerang figure. Not disappointed in the slightest. Taking a look at the height of this Boomerang figure, we can see that he does stand at just over 6 inches tall. For some size comparison, here's Boomerang compared to the Black Cat, the Carnage, and the Amazing Spider-Man figure available in this wave. And finally, here's Boomerang compared to the 6-inch scale Marvel Legends Infinite Series Wolverine. Alright, toy fans, well that's my review of the Marvel Legends Infinite Series Spider-Man Wave Deadliest Foes Boomerang, released by Hasbro in 2014. And overall, I really like this figure in a lot of ways, but I'm also very let down by the paintwork. I think the accessories are fantastic, the sculpting is great, the articulation is great, but I really feel like Hasbro just kind of stopped caring a little bit maybe with the paintwork. There's some weird splotch issues, some missing paint altogether, and I just wish it was just a little bit better. And one of the disappointments about this figure is that he is a running change figure, which means you may only see, if your Boomerang figure is like mine, you may only ever see one Boomerang figure, and the rest of the ones you see will all be Beetle figures, so you may only have the one option to get a kind of rough paint job figure. I wish they just would have put a little more care and attention into how they created this guy. But outside of that, if you have to have a Boomerang figure, if you're a fan of the Sinister Foes of Spider-Man or any of the sort of comics running right now, this is definitely a must-get for you. And I do have to give you the recommendation to pick this figure up myself, despite the flaws. I just hope that this doesn't become a regular habit for Hasbro. Maybe this was a one-off, I don't know. Well, that's my review, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to rate, share, and subscribe. Also, be sure to hit me up on Twitter at D21Beast. I'd love to talk to you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.